2025 has been an eventful year for gaming. Silksong passed the torch to Bloodborne 2, GTA 6 got delayed again, and RAM prices now cost more than your limbs due to AI. And with the big 25 coming to an end, I've decided to look back and rank every single game I played throughout the year once again. I did this video last year, and for those who are new around here, I play a lot of games. But I'm only going to be ranking games that were completely new to me, meaning that there will be games in this list that weren't released in 2025, but it was my first time playing them. I'm going to be ranking these games by tier list format. Anyways, with all that being said, let me start off the list with a game I played at the start of the year.
勝者はリオス
Shut the fuck up, bro. I bought this game for me and my friend Popo when it was on sale, and we decided to play it on stream together. We had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, and man was this game a roller coaster of events. But for those who don't know what A Way Out is, it is a co-op game where you and your friend play as two prisoners, Leo and Vincent, as they make an escape from this hellhole of a prison. Mind you, this game is built entirely around split screen co-op, so you'll see both your POV and your friend's POV. This game is a great example of how co-op should be. The split screen format keeps both players engaged at all times, and the game does a fantastic job of blending both good gameplay and delivering a cinematic experience that still feels interactive, which is something that isn't easy to pull off. The story is compelling and is clearly meant to be played with a friend, which makes everything you do together far more impactful and memorable, especially with the plot twist at the end of the story, which is one of my favorite moments in the whole game. This game is short and sweet. We finished it in like 5 hours, which took about 2 streams, so if you and a friend need a new game, I'd 100% recommend buying this when it's on sale. I don't have any complaints about this game. It's solid. B tier.
Oh fuck! Oh, what'd I do? What'd I do? Oh fuck, no! That was an accident!
I've always wanted to play a Choices Matter game on stream, and with the Until Dawn PC Remastered released in October of 2024, I knew exactly what had to be done. Until Dawn is a story-driven game that puts you in control of a group of 8 friends returning to an isolated mountain lodge where 2 of their friends vanished a year prior. Now, if you ask me why they decided this was a good idea, I don't fucking know. Let me start off by saying that this game had me engaged, and not just me, but you guys as well. My Twitch chat. Out of all the games I've streamed this year, this game stuck with me the most since I vividly remember everybody in my chat being engaged with the story, contributing with decision making, flaming my quick time event skills, making theories and trying to guess on who the perpetrator was, and it was just a good fucking time. Even with my community out of the picture, this game is just phenomenal. Visually, the game looks sharp, and the tense atmosphere mixed with the amazing soundtrack is just the cherry on top. The cast of characters overall is great, don't get me wrong, but I would be lying if I said some of them aren't dumb or if I didn't hate any of them. Emily. My only gripes with this game are the price tag and honestly the replayability. You would think since this game is a Choices Matter game that it would have a multitude of different outcomes and dialogue, but truth be told that a lot of the choices in the game still lead to the same outcome, which can make a lot of your decisions feel pointless. But because there are choices that genuinely affect whether a character lives or dies, you're constantly on the edge of your seat. I honestly don't know what else to say about this game aside from I thought it was fucking fire. The story's great, the atmosphere carries, and the game constantly has you questioning whether you made the right choice or not, and if you're one bad decision away from disaster. Fight or flight, panic, paranoia, it got that shit down, the nails on the coffin. I was shocked with how much I ended up enjoying this game from my first stream alone, and if it wasn't for the fact that it was New Year's Eve, I probably would have finished it in one stream. A tier.
He knows it's GG for...
Before playing this game, my only knowledge of Silent Hill was Pyramid Head, and after seeing the internet glazing this game when it came out, it piqued my interest. On top of that, people I knew such as my girlfriend and friends were fans of the Silent Hill franchise, so I was even more intrigued. And oh boy, was this game fucking amazing. First of all, the elephant in the room, the narrative. Silent Hill 2 easily has my favorite story out of any game I've played the past year. I'm a sucker for lore in games, even if I end up watching a whole YouTube video explaining the story because I'm too dumb enough to understand. A good story is something I always look out for, and Silent Hill 2 knocks it out of the park. This game heavily relies on environmental and symbolic storytelling, which are some of my favorite methods of portraying a story. I love trying to solve the mystery and figuring out what happened to James's wife, Mary. Seeing James's surroundings and mental state deteriorate as you get closer to the truth is incredible. Well, not for James, but in a storytelling and game design perspective. Each and every character you meet, monster you encounter, and location you explore are all reflections or symbols of James. Overall, phenomenal storytelling. As for the gameplay side of things, I like it. It put my brain to the test with its super high intellectual impossible puzzles.
I waited long. I bid my time. I waited to commit my crime. The man appeared.
And when I wasn't spending more than 10 minutes on a puzzle, I was fearing for my life, not knowing what was lurking ahead. This game constantly feels hostile without it all being up in your face. I cannot recall the amount of times I thought Pyramid Head would appear at the end of a hallway or a stupid mannequin jump scaring me in a dark room. I felt unease at all times. It felt like all 5 of my senses were activated 24/7 until that all went away when I got my shotgun. I don't know what it is, but whenever I get my hands on one in a survival horror game, all of my fears go away and I feel unstoppable. And it's no different in Silent Hill 2. It's not a bad thing, it's just my ego thinking I'm him until I run out of bullets and die. The game's well-crafted atmosphere and phenomenal narrative kept me on my toes and engaged from start to finish. My only complaints about Silent Hill 2 are the pacing and performance. The pacing in this game felt slow or dragged on at some points, most notably in the hospital, prison, and labyrinth sections of the game. They're long, require tons of backtracking, have similar looking rooms, and the combat can be cramped due to tight narrow hallways or small rooms. I just remember feeling a bit bored at some of these points of the game. As for the performance, for the most part the game did run fine for me, except whenever I was going up or down a flight of stairs. For some reason the game would start lagging like crazy whenever I encountered stairs. It's like James's mind was trying to warn me about some bullshit that was waiting for me at the top. And I know I didn't have the best PC specs, but even so, I've read a multitude of reviews of people experiencing performance issues with specs much better than mine. Despite my issues with the game, I'm putting this in S tier. The pros and the amount of enjoyment I got out of this title heavily outweighs the cons in my opinion. 100% would recommend this to anyone who just wants a survival horror game to play. Now I know what you might be thinking. This is just Elden Ring DLC, Lakitu, this isn't a new game. Well, the Game Awards counted it as a game, and so will I. The Shadow of the Erdtree is one of, if not the best DLC I've ever played in any game. I don't even know where to start. It has everything you could ask for in a Souls game DLC. Beautiful looking areas, great bosses, excellent music, cool weapons, more side quests. It has it all, really. And just like the main game, this DLC was a true test of my patience, especially when it came to the final boss. DLC Radahn is the hardest boss I've ever fought in any game, hands down. And mind you, I fought this dude after his nerf, because apparently pre-nerf DLC Radahn was the bane of everyone's existence. This DLC was so good, it made one of my friends smile for the first time in their 20 years of living after beating DLC Radahn. One of my proudest moments in the entire game was beating Mesmer in 2 hours, when I had motherfuckers telling me that this dude was Melania 2.0 and I was gonna be stuck here forever, and I proved them wrong. I proved them all wrong. I still remember walking into the Cerulean Coast for the first time, or finding Shaman Village. The areas in the DLC are just cinema. Except the Abyssal Woods, since it has those stupid fucking enemies that terrorize the place. There are maybe 1 or 2 things that I dislike about the DLC, and one of those being the lack of boss cutscenes. Compared to the main game where it had a cutscene for every remembrance boss, the DLC has 10 remembrance bosses and only 4 of them got cutscenes. Which is kind of a bummer because I feel like it was a missed opportunity. We got bosses like Rolana, Commander Fatass, the Skibbity Tree, Bale, and Sonic the Hedgehog. My point being is that all of these cool ass bosses could have used a cutscene or 2. Whether it's the first encounter or a transition into their second phase, all these guys deserved a cutscene, especially Bale. That is without a doubt the biggest L and missed opportunity this DLC got in my opinion. The second thing I somewhat dislike about this DLC is the great world and level design. Hear me out. I know I was just saying how memorable some of the areas are and how beautiful they look, and I still stand by that statement. However, a majority of the areas feel empty. I found myself just running through half of these areas with Torrent and rarely coming back to revisit, because what's the point? It felt like half of the loot I get were random flowers and some lore explaining how America only took showers every leap year. I will say though, I did like how some of the areas felt very interconnected. Overall, I love this game and its DLC. It's peak, it's cinema, Hall of Fame DLC right here. Even with the lack of boss cutscenes and the empty world, it still doesn't change my feelings about everything else this DLC offers. The negatives are nowhere near to canceling out the positives in my opinion. Cinema.
It helps go back? Back? What do you mean go back? Bro, missed the fish? What fish? You're meant to save the fish? Bro, how the fuck am I supposed to know?
This is one of the few games on the list I feel like I could confidently recommend to anyone. It's not like the other games I've ranked so far where I have to think about someone's preferences. For example, I'm not going to recommend Elden Ring and its DLC to a very casual gamer. I won't recommend Silent Hill 2 to somebody who can't even play Roblox horror games without shitting themselves. And I certainly won't recommend the Until Dawn remake to someone who's stingy with money. But with Detroit Become Human, I can see myself recommending this game to anyone. This game has everything you need for a perfect Choices Matter experience. Phenomenal writing, good world building, amazing characters, an engaging story, beautiful visuals, an awesome soundtrack, good pacing, tons of endings. What more could you ask for? To quickly summarize the plot, you follow and play as 3 androids that have gained newfound consciousness: Connor, Marcus, and Kara. The game's narrative explores themes of AI, discrimination, identity, and most importantly, humanity. Because throughout the game, everybody is shitting on these AI robots and how they're used. Sound familiar? If you ask me, this game aged like fine wine, especially with the impact that AI has made in recent years and for some questionable purposes. The best way I'd describe this game is if you were to run your own high-end production TV show. You now have the power to control every decision being made, so every good and bad choice that will be made will be completely on you, and there's no turning back. I feel like the worst part about making a horrible choice in this game is at the end of each mission, there is a flowchart that showcases every single possible outcome in each scenario. And while that is cool, I just remember feeling guilt and like shit, knowing that I got the worst outcome in whatever scenario I was in. Especially with Connor, like, oh my god, bro. I made so many bad choices with him, bro. I basically fucking hoed him throughout the entire game, and to this day I still feel bad about it. If anyone watching was one of those viewers watching those streams, you know exactly what I'm talking about. This game gets you so attached to each character, and the tension kind of just got to me, and the game does that so well. The pauses, the stares, the emotion, the stakes, it felt like every choice I made mattered. I know that sounds kinda dumb, but it's true. Especially if you compare it to something like Until Dawn, where yeah, there are multiple choices. Even if you make one wrong move, chances are the outcome will still be the same if you were to select the other choice. With this game, nah, that doesn't exist. There are dead-ass different outcomes for like every single choice you make, which is incredible to think about. Whether the result is pain, victory, or loss. This game alongside Silent Hill 2 are probably the only games on this list I'd beg for someone to enter in blind, especially this game, because everyone's experience with this game is going to be different. I don't have any complaints really, I guess maybe it's too short, I don't fucking know. Detroit Become Human is truly a masterclass of the Choices Matter genre, and I 100% recommend playing this game to anyone. Please play this game if you haven't already. S tier.
What's a Massey's? Oh, bro.
How? What'd you do?
You walked into them.
Oh, I wasn't supposed to?
Look, now y'all can't say this shit no more. I remember watching the announcement trailer for this game way back in 2019 and thought it looked stunning, and I knew I had to get my hands on this game ASAP. Fast forward 6 years later and I just got around to playing it. Although I didn't play by myself because thanks to this beautiful thing called modding, it's now possible to play this game in co-op, so I got my girlfriend to play this game with me and it was so much fun. I love the art style of this remake. It's very charming, well made, and adds a lot of personality to the world. The dungeons are visually all unique from one to another. Each of them have a clever gimmick to completing them, and most importantly, the bosses are fun. The plot of the game is intriguing too, and the ending is bittersweet. I honestly don't have much to say except that I like this game. I think it's a very solid title and a faithful remake that puts a massive smile on my face. I don't have many problems with the game itself, although there were some glitches and issues that my girlfriend and I encountered with the co-op mod, such as only one player was able to go through a door, the second player was able to use abilities, and enemies were mainly aggroed on the first player. Now, I understand that since I played this game in co-op, my first time experience with this game is going to be very different compared to many others. In fact, I wouldn't blame y'all if you disagree with my ranking due to this, but I think playing this game with someone else definitely added some more charm and made it a lot of fun. I know this section is pretty short compared to everything else, but W game. Maybe buy a used copy to save yourself some money, and I'd love to see some other 2D Zelda games get some sort of remake like this, like the Oracle games or Minish Cap. B tier game. Despite being warned by a couple of friends to not check out this game, I still went ahead and bought it because I was and still am obsessed with Resident Evil, and after playing through this game, I kinda get why they were warning me. RE3 Remake isn't necessarily a horrible game, just a bad, disappointing remake compared to its brothers. Even with them out of the picture, if you compare this game to the original, it's pretty mediocre to say the least. Starting off with a few positives, I guess, the gunplay, sound effects, visuals, characters, and music are all good. Compared to RE2, you'll be doing a lot more shooting in this game, so don't worry about the gunplay being some buns, cause it is good. The gameplay is fun and I enjoyed it. The nemesis at the start of the game is very intimidating and he looks cool. Unfortunately, that's about all the positives I got, to be honest, cause to be quite frank, the cons pop up more and outweigh the pros in my opinion. For starters, this game has zero replayability. Unlike in RE2 where you can play as two different characters with different routes and Mr. X who stalks you and spawns in whenever the fuck he wants, in RE3 once the credits start rolling, you've got the full experience. The game is always going to play out the same due to the nemesis encounters all being predetermined, which completely annihilates the feeling of suspense and any thoughts of, he's right behind me, isn't he? Plus, he barely appears. Speaking of the nemesis, personally, I'm not a big fan of how he evolves throughout the game. I much more preferred how he was at the start compared to how he turns out in the end, which isn't intimidating in the slightest. They completely removed his aura, it's pretty fucking sad. And comparing them side by side, I highly doubt there are many people that would agree that this looks scarier than this. The biggest piece of criticism that I've seen for this game is the cut content. Now, I've never played the original RE3, however, after completing this game, I felt nothing. Everything went by so fast, and for a game that costs $40 and you only get 5, maybe 6 hours of playtime with zero replayability, I felt like something was missing. And so after completing the game, to my surprise, I found out that the amount of cut content that this game has is insane. The cut content includes the following: iconic major locations, branching paths, enemies and bosses, enhanced ammo, lack of costumes, mercenaries mode, a whole other ending, and puzzles are basically non-existent in the remake. After finding all of this out, there was even a bigger frown on my face and I realized that I played a huge downgraded, watered down, and a very linear version of RE3. Someday in the future, I'll get around to playing the original. To clarify once again, I don't think the game is dog shit. I think it's the definition of mid, and for $40, it's definitely not worth it. Just wait for a sale. And because of everything I've just talked about, I'm going to be placing this game in C tier because it is still somewhat enjoyable. Just a huge downgrade and watered down version of the original.
We're the captains of
Put
these
the rubber ducks away, man. Ain't no frame drop gonna.
That's what I'm saying, no frame. Oh shit.
Yo.
Another game I played with my significant other, and we had a blast playing this game together. This is hands down one of the best co-op experiences I've had in a long time. The co-op design is damn near perfect. Both players are constantly involved. There is no boring sections, no filler, no grinding, just a steady stream of creative ideas, clever puzzles, and moments that stick with you. The gameplay is incredibly fun, with each level bringing in new gimmicks that help keep things fresh and exciting. One chapter you're exploring a clock and fighting for your life against it, and the next level has you trapped in a snow globe going inside of a whale. That's the magic of this game. It feels like it's having a genre identity crisis. One minute it's a shooter, the next a platformer, then a rhythm game, and suddenly it's a 2D side scroller. The story is good too. It's about a married couple who are on the brink of a divorce, and after being magically transformed into dolls by their daughter Rose, they're forced to work together and fix their relationship as they try to reach Rose. It's charming, yet has a meaningful narrative that complements the gameplay. It isn't anything too cheesy either. Graphically, this game looks beautiful. Each location was so detailed and gorgeous to look at. The environments had so much shit to do, like finding Easter eggs, secrets, puzzles, and mini games to explore. My girlfriend and I played this game whenever we were hanging out, and the split screen is good. Just thought I should mention that since the next game on this list could take a note or two on how to properly do split screen gameplay. Ultimately, It Takes Two is a must-play game with your partner or friend. It isn't a difficult game at all, and it offers a beautiful experience for both players. For $40 and it includes a friend pass, this game is 100% worth every penny. Legendary co-op game, S tier.
Resident Evil 5.
In case you guys haven't gotten the hint yet, I'm now fiending for Resident Evil. I got this game on my PS5 since it was free on PS Plus, and I made my friend who has never played Resident Evil play this game with me, and I'm not gonna lie, I'd love to see a remake of this game. Let me start off by saying that this game is perhaps not the best example of what Resident Evil is, but I still had fun with this game nonetheless. What I mean by this is that the eerie survival horror tone the series is known for takes a step back in this entry, and instead it's mainly focusing on heavier action and co-op gameplay. The shift in gameplay is insanely obvious when compared to the previous entries in the series. Players play as Chris Redfield and Sheva Olamar as y'all investigate a bioterrorism threat in Africa. This game has that good old classic RE cheesy dialogue, and it also has
Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Come on! Hurry up!
The gameplay is fun, but I won't even lie, my homie and I played this in quite literally the worst way possible. We played this on split screen. This might be one of the worst split screens I've ever seen and played in any game. Not only was the screen way too small, but it was dark as shit. And what didn't help is that my dumbass didn't know my monitor settings were automatically in the darkest mode possible. So there were points in this game where we played completely in the dark just to have a chance of seeing what's going on. And since we played on the PS5, the controls took us some time to get used to since the controller was emulating PS3 controls, so that was pretty awkward to get used to. Another complaint that we had was upgrading weapons, as only player 1 could do that, which is kinda dumb, so we basically had a shared inventory. Speaking of inventory, the inventory management is extremely limited with you only having 9 slots. It does sound like a lot till you realize that at most you'll need 2 guns, different types of ammo, heals which can take up a spot or more depending on how much you bring, grenades, and etc. Controls and movement feel stiff and clunky, bosses and enemies aren't anything amazing, and as I mentioned earlier, this game isn't much of a survival horror despite being a Resident Evil title. Even with all the negatives, this game is so ridiculously stupid that it's kinda good. Evil Jill and her useless ass backflips during the first fight with Wesker, the iconic Chris Boulder scene, the piss green filter, and the wobbly effects to indicate the hot climate of Africa is the equivalent of Breaking Bad's yellow filter. This is one of those games that if someone were to tell you it's bad or mid, I would agree. But if someone tries to tell you to not play this game, that's crossing the line. I think this game is fun and it's worth checking out if you and a friend are looking for a new co-op game. RE5 also has some DLC that could be worth playing if you like the main game. Personally, I haven't played them yet, but maybe one day. I'm gonna place RE5 in the highest point of C tier. Funny game. I love Mario Kart. It's been a huge part of my life, and as someone who has been begging and waiting for 10 years for a brand new Mario Kart, I can confidently say that Mario Kart World is okay. Don't get me wrong, when this game was first announced, I think I came in my pants a little bit, but I honestly didn't play as much as I thought I would, and at the time with this being the only Switch 2 exclusive, I kind of wondered if it was worth it. My thoughts on this game are all over the place, so bear with me. I like a lot of the new, but I also kind of don't. I love the fact that this is the biggest Mario Kart roster ever, and to see so many random characters in this game is awesome. But I don't like scrolling through this roster and it feels like 70% of it are different character skins. Why couldn't they just make a sub menu when selecting a character with a different skin like in the previous game? I love playing on the new maps, but I don't love the intermission tracks that take up 90% of the race. They don't utilize the new mechanics at all. You're just driving down a straight narrow road. It's boring. I like the free roam mode. I think it's a neat addition to the game that has collectibles like the P-switches, but I think stickers and mirror mode is a terrible reward for the hassle and grind you put into collecting these things. These are Mario Kart's versions of Korok seeds. I love the soundtrack, but in my opinion, it isn't enough to defend the $80 price tag. To me, it seems like Nintendo had so many things right, yet they tripped and managed to take a few steps back, honing some of the new good things that were added. I'm sure this game will get better as time goes on, maybe in future DLCs, but knowing Nintendo, they'll definitely charge us for that. I haven't lost all my faith yet in this entry since looking at Mario Kart 8 specifically, that game was mid as hell when it launched, and it wasn't really all that till Mario Kart 8 Deluxe redeemed its name. In a nutshell, I like Mario Kart World, but it definitely needs a bit more work. C tier. I'm placing this shit in A tier. Now, obviously, this placement might change after I beat the game. I fucking love this game. Resident Evil 7 has officially dethroned RE2 as my favorite game in the franchise, but it's also become one of my favorite games in general. There are so many things I can talk about on why this is my favorite Resident Evil game or just one of my favorite horror games. Whether it's the story, the presentation, boss fights, characters, puzzles, DLC, gameplay, it's all done so well. Yet, out of all of this, my favorite takeaway was the influence and inspiration that horror films had on this game.
Where am I? What the hell?
It's time for supper.
The characters are literal embodiments of different horror genres in films. For example, Jack Baker is slasher film 101. This motherfucker is up there with Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, Jason Voorhees, and most importantly, Jack Torrance from The Shining. What makes this obvious is that Mr. Baker here has fans like this.
It's scrump-dilly-ishous. He make me wanna...
What the fuck?
Memes aside, Jack Baker does follow the two rules in slasher films. Rule number 1, the crazy murderer never runs. They just walk menacingly and somehow always manage to catch up. And rule number 2, the killer always comes back.
Oh my god. Is he actually... What the fuck, bro?
Yeah, this dude comes back like 3 different times. Like, leave me the fuck alone, bro. His wife, Marguerite Baker, seems to be a homage to bugs in mainly body horror films like The Thing, The Fly, and The Brood. You can just tell by looking at how disgustingly weird she looks, especially in her boss fight, and the environment she's in is infested by bugs. Lucas Baker, their son, is clearly influenced by the Saw films. You're put into a room that will inevitably lead to your impending doom, and Lucas is orchestrating the whole thing. This dude actually thinks he's Jigsaw with the whole, "Do you want to play a game?" like shit, bro. Ethan's girlfriend Mia is literally Mia from Evil Dead. The amount of influence, tributes, references, or whatever the hell you want to call it, that this game has is incredible. It uses all the best horror formulas in the book and it's all piled into a single game. Now, I think this is damn near the perfect horror game, but it has one fatal flaw in my opinion, the endgame. Specifically the whole boat segment, compared to the rest of the game where I was fearing for my life and wondering if Jack Baker was gonna come back for the millionth time. The endgame is way more action heavy than scary, which kinda sucks. The lack of enemy variance is definitely a lot more prevalent here, and the final boss is underwhelming. It's not the worst thing ever, but it feels like a downgrade compared to the rest of the game. And that's about it, really. I don't have many complaints surrounding RE7 because I genuinely do think that this game is that good. I love this game from start to finish, and even though the end game is lacking, it's honestly not even close to outweighing the positives. As I mentioned earlier, easy S tier for me.
The night is far from over.
I'll never forget the day this game got announced. I was in my room chilling with my girlfriend and I opened up Twitter to see that a brand new Elden Ring game got announced and that it was going to be co-op. It was like a dream come true. I'm skipped to now and I fuck with it. Nightreign is Fortnite if Fortnite was Elden Ring. This ended up being my favorite new multiplayer game in 2025 and I had a difficult time ranking this game. As much as I love Nightreign, there are flaws that need to be addressed. Deep of Night needs to be reworked. Duos for some reason wasn't a thing at launch. No crossplay, no comms, no new weapons added to the DLC, Relic RNG system is a pain, and hackers. I love this game, but it's still so crazy to me that to this day, there are no comms. I was literally complaining about this months ago, and tell me why the hell are there still no comms? Why? On top of that, figuring out that there is no crossplay was a huge bummer in my opinion. I feel like it should be a staple for multiplayer games nowadays. I originally had this game in B tier, but since the addition of the DLC, I've changed my mind. The DLC has been review bombed to death, and while I do think some of the complaints about the map are valid, overall, I think for the price of $15, it's worth it. We got 2 new characters, a new map, 2 amazing Night Lord bosses, Artorias, new remembrances alongside the characters. It's all so good. The highlights are definitely the new bosses in my opinion. The Balancers and Dreadlord are so cool, and the Everdark Balancer fight is one of the best fights in the game in my opinion. Speaking of Everdark bosses, I do think they're a neat addition to the game. It definitely gave me a reason to come back after not playing it for a couple of months. On top of that, by the time I came back to the game, the DLC was right around the corner and then I got hooked again. As I previously mentioned with the DLC characters, every single character in this game has unique and different side quests with good rewards, but rewards aside, these side quests are cool. I'd love completing Wilder's and Executor's remembrances. Those 2 were definitely the best ones in my opinion, especially Executor, since at the end of it, you got put into a whole ass beautiful cutscene and got into a Sekiro type of duel. The OG map is great, and the 8 Night Lords are all unique and cool, except maybe Augury, it kinda sucks. The gameplay loop is addicting, however, it can be very simple once you learn the formula, and that's where another issue kicks in, which is repetitiveness. Personally, since the addition of the DLC and taking the time defeating every single Everdark boss and grinding Deep of Night, I've been just slowly feeling the repetitiveness, which I don't like, but at the same time, the gameplay, combat, and bosses are all enough to keep me engaged. It's kind of weird, it's like they are contradicting each other, but it works well in my opinion. I enjoyed Nightreign for what it is, and I hope FromSoft continues supporting this game with future updates and possible DLC, because there's a lot they can work with. You know, it's a nice little side project, and I think it's cool to keep us, you know, entertained while we're waiting for big releases. W game, W FromSoft, high B tier to a low A tier. Little Nightmares is a creepy puzzle platformer heavily focused on atmosphere, building tension, and storytelling. This game is labeled as a horror game, but it isn't really anything like that. It's not up all in your face with jump scares and loud noises, but instead it builds suspense through unsettling environments, monsters lurking, and excellent sound design. I cannot emphasize enough. The soundtrack and sound design are amazing. I don't know who made that shit, but they cooked. You spend most of your time sneaking around, puzzle solving, and try to survive in a world that feels disturbing. For someone that's not the brightest tool in the shed, I really enjoyed the puzzles in this game. They weren't anything too difficult, and they didn't just hand me the answers either, which I liked. Each chapter of the game introduces a new area and enemy, which keeps things fresh and engaging. The story is mainly told through environments and your actions, and I remember my girlfriend and I being left shocked at the end since we didn't know what was going on. There's also DLC that adds a bit more lore to the story, which is nice. The game's really short though. My girl and I completed it in one sitting, and for what it's worth, I'd say wait for a sale so you can buy the game and the DLC, since you'll get more playtime out of that as well. Very short game, very good game, very B tier game.
Okay, you guys need to catch this, because if you don't catch this, you're fucking dead, bro, okay?
Yeah, we're standing, bro, we're standing.
Okay, no, okay, just throw one in case they miss it, okay? I'm gonna throw it, okay? Okay, throw yours. Like, do not miss this. Oh my god!
This was one of those games I bought because my friend wouldn't shut the hell up about it. You know who you are. And I won't lie, at first I thought I was I played this game around the time it came out for like 3 hours and then never touched it again, because every time my friends would get on, I'd be at work. So my thoughts and opinions have changed on this game significantly when I actually gave it a proper chance. Peak is a simple game. You and your friends are stranded on an island and your goal is to climb to the top of the mountain. That's literally it. This game has proximity chat and it can create some funny moments between you and your friends.
Oh my god, he just instantly died.
There are a bunch of achievements in the game, and the more you collect, they actually appear on your character. It's pretty cool. This game got good replayability due to the different biomes this game offers, and the island changes every day. So the map you got to know so well yesterday, well, too bad. Prepare to learn this new one today, buddy. The items are basic, but they're good. The environments are beautiful and fun to learn. And the feeling you and your friends get to making it to the top of the mountain is an awesome feeling.
No key.
Oh wait, that's the peak over there. The peak! Roll the credits! We did it, guys. Oh my god. What a beautiful journey. Almost 6 hours later. We made it! Peak also gets frequent updates, so that mixed with everything else I've mentioned always keeps the gameplay fresh.
This entire game is simple yet has engaging design, making it easy for anyone to join. Whether it's a friend who only plays games with a gun or a ball, or someone who is a noob at everything, this game can be enjoyed even by the most casual of players. The game's dirt cheap too. In conclusion, Peak is tough, B tier.
Oh my god, and these fucking archers in the back. Whoa, backward! Whoa!
Dark Souls 1 changed my life. I became a better man after playing this game, and is that crazy to say? DS1 is a certified hood classic that defined an entire generation of games through its deep world design, difficulty, and unforgettable atmosphere. The interconnected map is one of the game's highlights, with you being able to explore a multitude of places right from the very beginning of the game. The combat is punishing yet incredibly satisfying once you get in the rhythm of things. This game excels in environmental storytelling, memorable bosses, and teaching you that failure is success if you learn from it. Just like every other FromSoft title, Dark Souls 1 is no exception at this. DS1 makes it very clear from the start that it's okay to struggle. It shows you that if you just look around, meet new people, find some new gear, you'll be much more prepared to face whatever enemy was giving you an ass whooping. And most importantly, it tells you a phrase that will most certainly stick by you for the rest of the game.
Goodbye then. Be safe, friend. Don't you dare go alone.
For a franchise that's notorious for its difficulty, the fact that the game is telling you to not quit is powerful. That quote is essentially telling you that you can do anything, just don't quit. You will eventually get to the finish line. Personally for me, I most relate to that phrase when I fought Ornstein and Smough. In my opinion, that is the hardest boss in the whole game. I kept getting my ass whooped over and over again, and at some point, I wondered if I was just bound to be stuck here forever, like if my fate was sealed or something. Until it wasn't.
Yes! Oh my god! Finally! Holy shit!
The adrenaline rush that I get from defeating a boss that I was stuck on for hours is still amazing. It's just so rewarding and satisfying knowing that I did that shit. As I mentioned earlier, the atmosphere in the world of Dark Souls is beautiful, with areas seamlessly connecting to one another with clever shortcuts and layered level design. Each location has a distinct identity, from the quiet, peaceful safe havens known as the Firelink Shrine to the disgusting, vile Blight Town. Each area is very distinct and memorable. And the same is said for the bosses: Ornstein and Smough, Sif, Artorias, Gwyn, Four Kings, Bed of Chaos, and so much more. You know, while I'm quickly talking about bosses here, can someone explain to me why and how Pinwheel has a cutscene, but not Gwyn, who is the final boss of the game? Huh? To be honest, my only pieces of criticism with DS1 are the hitboxes in the second half of the game. I know, crazy takes from yours truly. Memes aside, I cannot recall the amount of times I've gotten hoed by the hitboxes in this game. Whether I died on or off stream, it just felt like at times where I shouldn't have died, I ended up dying, and what didn't help was the camera. As for the second half of the game, I mean, it seems like everyone has a problem with this, and rightfully so. I'm with that crowd. The dip in quality is pretty obvious, especially in areas such as Lost Izalith, where they just spammed the fuck out of the Tauros Demon and Capra Demon, and then they just did a reskin of the Asylum Demon and called it a day. It just all seems so rushed, and it's definitely a downgrade from what the first half of the game was. Now, while I do agree that the second half of the game is where a majority of the flaws shine, I don't think it makes the game bad. I still enjoyed playing through the game, even if I had to endure the worst runback I've quite possibly ever done in any game up to this point in my life. I'm looking at you, Crystal Cave. I hate you. I still love Dark Souls 1. I think this is a game that people should check out if they're interested in the FromSoft series of Souls games. I say this and not something like Sekiro or Elden Ring because as much as I'd love to recommend those games, maybe the difficulty is too intimidating for someone, so I honestly think DS1 is a good start and it isn't too hard, especially compared to the later games in the series. DS1 gets an A tier from me.
Dude, this game is fucking legendary, bro. Man, this game of the year shit is gonna be crazy, bro. We got a lot of bangers this year, dog.
Silksong is a masterpiece, and the fact that they've already announced a DLC on the way is just insane. Team Cherry is goated. Everything about this game is beautiful. The environments, combat, bosses, soundtrack, lore, exploration, difficulty, quests, NPCs, art direction, and I mean just everything. Personally, this was my game of the year and my favorite game I played last year. I think this title is truly worthy of standing next to its predecessor, Hollow Knight, and dare I say, better? Every area is detailed so beautifully with lots of platforming, quests, paths, secrets, and NPCs. The bosses in this game are so memorable, and while some of them made me question my skill in the game, it felt so rewarding to defeat every single one of those frauds. There wasn't a single point in the game where I felt bored or I'd take a look at an area and thought that the devs didn't put their love into it. Well, maybe except the putrefied ducks, that area was pretty mediocre. To this day, I still remember how happy I was when I defeated the harder bosses like Carmelita and the First Sinner. My god, did they take me a while. I love this game. It's only $20, guys. Please play Silksong. It is genuinely a masterpiece and it has become one of my favorite games of all time. This is genuinely legendary. Go play this fucking game. Easiest S tier ever.
Oh, I guess you could also hide in that box.
Hell no, I'm a real-ass mellow creature. Okay.
Little Nightmares 2 builds on from the original with smoother gameplay, eerie atmosphere, phenomenal world building, and 6, who is now your little AI buddy. Each level and boss are extremely well designed, puzzles are more refined, the combat adds more depth to the gameplay, the tension is still there and arguably stronger than before, and the pacing is still good. As mentioned, the gameplay is more varied this time around, with combat mechanics not making you feel unstoppable since they leave you pretty vulnerable after each attack. 6 being an AI buddy that helps you out with puzzles and traversing around is a neat addition, and she doesn't feel pointless as in other games with AI buddies. Levels are more dynamic, which keeps things from feeling repetitive, and the sequel expands the original formula in meaningful ways. The story had me engaged from start to finish, and I love that this game says so much without saying any words. It truly shows how strong the environmental storytelling is in this game, and just like the previous game, Little Nightmares 2 also had an ending that had left me in distraught. Just like the first game, Little Nightmares 2 is also a pretty short experience, with my girl and I beating it in around 6 hours. As I said with the first game, I'd recommend waiting on a sale if the $30 price tag bothers you, but honestly, this game is an improvement from the first one in my opinion, and for the quality of the experience, I think this title is worth the full price. A tier. On a random Tuesday, my friend and I decided to get the platinum for this game since it was free on PS Plus and we needed a new game to play. Many hours later, we still didn't have the platinum, but what we did have was a lot of fun. This is basically GTA, but for kids, and you play as a goat. You can run people over, launch people, fly, explode things, glitch through the map, play with friends, and most importantly, it's life-changing. Just like the original game from many years ago, Goat Sim 3 is also filled with tons of secret references and Easter eggs which are really fun to discover. The map is jam-packed with missions and mini games like the floor is lava, prop hunt, king of the hill, and more. I don't know what else there is to say, to be honest. This game is just pure chaos and full of silly moments. I've enjoyed every second of it. B tier. Slime Rancher 2 is a game that I've been looking forward to the full release ever since the game dropped early access back in 2022. And while technically I did play this game back when it first came out, I didn't have too much playtime on it since I made up my mind then that I'll just wait for the full release. So time skipped to 3 years later and here we are. I've seen people say that this is exactly like the first game as a form of criticism, but personally, I don't think it's that bad. I think the saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it, applies to this game to an extent. It's literally the first game with better graphics and UI, more exploration, good story progression, new biomes, and most importantly, new slimes. The game is a bit grindy, but I don't mind too much until late game. A lot of the late game zones turned into a, oh, you need this item to progress, which got a bit tedious. There is also no post-game content to be seen. I hope they add one in the future update or something, because after you beat the game, there isn't really anything to do. It'd be nice to also have some in-game NPCs with additional side quests or stories to help build out the world. I think the game is fine in its current state, but I'd love to see more updates adding stuff into the world, whether it's more slimes, post-game content, NPCs, and more. Slime Rancher 2 is a game I can just get on and relax, listen to music, and just enjoy. It's a very cute and wholesome experience. Yeah, that's all I really gotta say, to be honest. B tier. Not yet, at least. Let's go down the elevator. Let's go back to floor 1. Yes, sir. Oh, let's go to the roof. Never mind. Let me see what's going on at the roof.
Maybe a, oh my god. Look how beautiful this game is. Oh my god. This shit. Dude. This shit looks fucking ass, dog. I originally had no intentions of buying this game whatsoever. In fact, I bought this on a whim because the homie Popo told me we'd play this game together and we planned on playing on stream. Not only did we never play this game together, but to this day, he still hasn't bought the fucking game. Despite me getting scammed by my friend, I tried to enter this game with an open mindset, and I mean I really tried. I played for over 20 hours, and my conclusion from all those hours I played is that
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
I don't know where to start, and that's not a good thing because it just shows how many problems this game has. I guess I can talk about the intro of the game. I vividly remember streaming this and being bored out of my fucking mind. For some reason, Game Freak thought it would be a good idea to make the intro of this game 10 light years long. It drove me nuts. Also, what I'm about to say is very contradicting to what I said earlier. I know I said I'm a huge sucker for story and lore in games, but I promise you, I don't give a flying fuck about the story in Pokemon, especially in Legends Z8 where it feels like I'm spamming the A button to skip the dialogue for 2 minutes straight and I'm still on that shit. All I want to do is play the damn game. I still don't understand why this game feels the need to baby me like I haven't experienced the same game format for the past 20 years of my life. I know that can't be said for everyone, but at least have the decency to provide an option to skip all this bullshit. I'm aware that all the games in the franchise have a tutorial, but this one was so unnecessarily long and it handholds you way too much. It can't be that difficult to make this skippable for returning players. Moving on from the god-awful tutorial, let's talk about the new day and night cycle. It's basically the core Pokemon gameplay split into two, where in the day you can catch Pokemon and explore Lumios, and during the night you battle trainers. I don't think this is a horrible system, and the new real-time battles are fun when they work. The problem with this battle system is that it just doesn't work when you're battling more than 3 inches off the ground, and I'm specifically talking about the roof battles here. Roof battles are difficult when your Pokemon walks off for no reason and you're punished for it. Whether you're penalized to switch by taking a few hits or having to readjust your position to be able to land a hit is just so tedious and annoying. This new battle system also features ZA Royale, which is basically a massive tournament where you have to climb up the ranks, with the lowest rank being Z and the highest being A. On paper, this sounds cool. It seemed like you actually had to grind through 26 different ranks. But what if I told you, you don't? Because for some reason, the game decides to promote you from rank V all the way to rank F. I don't know if the game tried to make this seem like a big wow, yay, you did it like moment, but I didn't feel anything. In fact, I didn't give a shit. It just felt unearned and it feels like a cheat. I'm not gonna lie, the sound of having to go through the whole alphabet does sound a bit soul destroying, but I didn't like having to skip through 14 different ranks. I think if there were smaller skips, then it would have been fine, like from rank V to Q. Another reason why I found a skip to be a problem is because there is a quest in the game where you have to complete 1,000 trainer battles to unlock the shiny charm. Mind you, even if you complete the main game, you still won't have 1,000 battles completed. Who the fuck thought this was okay? And I haven't even begun to talk about the elephant in the room, known as the graphics. So do I even need to say anything? There is no sign of life to be found in this joke of a city. I know I'm barking up an old tree here, but this game looks like shit. And before I get any D1 meat munching Game Freak Pokemon fans in my comments, look at this. I am a fan of this series. I'm a fan. I am this upset and frustrated because I'm a fan of the series. I grew up with Pokemon. This franchise is older than I am, and it's been a huge part of my life. I've seen the highs and lows of the anime. I've seen and lived the switch up people had for Gen 5. I've played ROM hacks and fan games of Pokemon. But my point is I'm no newbie. And what makes it worse is that I bought this game over Ghost of Yote, which is quite possibly the worst mistake I made last year. I've talked about this game long enough, and I haven't even gone over every problem this game has. So if you want a dedicated video about that, go check out the homie Kyler's video in the top right corner. This game is going into the bottom pits of the list, F tier. Whisper Mountain Outbreak is a co-op survival horror game, although it's still in early access, so just keep that in mind. Like I said, this is a co-op survival horror game, and with me being obsessed with the kingpin of survival horror games as of lately, this caught my attention. However, I'd be lying if I said this game was perfect. In fact, I think this game is a tad bit underwhelming. Starting off with the positives, the price of this game is only $8 and it offers a friend pass, which is insanely generous, so if you're gonna play with some friends, only the host of the game needs to purchase it. Visually, Whisper Mountain Outbreak does a great job in this department. The game does a good job of building atmosphere using eerie environments mixed with 2.5D graphics, and it looks great. The gameplay loop is fun, and the addition of proximity chat is always something I enjoy in co-op games. Cool maps, cool character classes, good skill system, and so much more. Unfortunately, I think that's where my positives end off at, because to be quite frank, this game has a lot of room for improvement, and to phrase this in the most simple and critique way, it just needs more content. The replayability in this game gets stale quickly due to the insufficient amount of content we have. What we have now is nice, but we need more. Whether that's the addition of new maps, new zombie variants, new weapons, new puzzles, new classes, new endgame content, new objectives, and you guys get it by this point. Typically, I'm all for quality over quantity, but in this case, I believe this game already has the quality aspect down. It's just lacking the quantity side of things. I brought up all those examples because that's what I think needs the most work in my opinion. I think if the devs were looking for any inspiration, I'd say look no further than Left 4 Dead 2. I could talk about this peak co-op zombie game for a while, but we're not here for that, are we? In a nutshell, Left 4 Dead 2 fixes all the problems I have with Whisper Mountain Outbreak, except for character classes and puzzles, and that's just because the game don't got that shit, which isn't a bad thing at all because it excels in every other department, especially with the zombie berries, because if you've played this game, I guarantee you some of them zombies are probably in your fucking nightmares.
Wait.
Apart from the content of the game, I think one small yet crucial thing to take note is that this game is more of an extraction type of game than a survival horror game. You start the game with limited inventory space and it expands as you go on, but if you die, you lose everything. If you die 3 times, you lose your character and you gotta start all over again. However, your losses aren't hard to come back from since you just replayed the same maps and the same puzzles you had before with just different loopholes. You guys see how bland the replayability can be, right? Especially with the poorly designed endgame, which is just an endless horde of zombies, nothing really interesting. Overall, I like this game. I think it has potential and has room for improvement. It can offer you and your friends a good time for a couple of hours for the price of $8. I'd love to see this game succeed. Solid C tier. This game was robbed from Game of the Year. Plastic Duck Simulator is a game where you relax and enjoy life as a rubber duck. Yeah, I'm not kidding. That's it. You can't move, you can't jump, or do anything, really. You kinda just relax and enjoy the chill music. I unironically enjoyed this game, however, I just can't bring myself to place it in a higher tier. W game, it's cheap and relaxing, but I might have to place it in a low C to a high D tier.
What, am I Kara?
I finally gave in. My only experience with Deltarune was when Chapter 1 first released back in 2018, although to be honest, I didn't remember anything, so when Chapters 3 and 4 finally got announced for June, I knew it was the perfect time to hop on the Deltarune train. But I'm gonna keep it a buck with y'all, I still haven't played Chapters 3 and 4, which is kinda weird to say since that's the whole reason I hopped on the Deltarune hype. Despite me not playing any of the new chapters, Chapters 1 and 2 were insanely fun, with memorable characters, silly writing, an amazing soundtrack, a fun battle system. The game constantly balances charm and mystery within its story. The story in this game has had me so engaged, and what doesn't help is that at the end of each chapter, it always ends off at some crazy cliffhanger and it has me raising even more questions. Like, what the fuck was that ending to Chapter 2? What does it mean? As I was saying earlier, this game has so much charm, and it honestly has the most charm out of any game I've played on this list easily. Especially around the time I got to playing this, because I was playing the hell out of Resident Evil and the Souls games, so this was a huge breath of fresh air for me. The game is packed with quirky and lovable characters, and at some points I caught myself cringing reading to the dialogue, but I didn't hate it. I wanted more. It's like I was cringe maxing. I feel like what truly makes this game special is the narrative and dialogue. The way Deltarune constantly has you reading dumb jokes and silly interactions, and the next thing you know, the music stops playing. Everything goes quiet and you're hit with some unsettling pieces of dialogue. That seamless shift between playful, funny, and unease is incredible. The combat system is also super good and massively improved upon from Undertale. Not trying to diss, but I don't think Undertale had you fighting as a transformer going Super Saiyan in a fighting simulator as a climax. Each enemy has different dialogue, unique attack patterns, and mechanics which reflect on who they are, making even some of the most random enemy encounters memorable. Each party member also has distinct roles, like Susie is the heavy hitter and mainly a DPS demon, while Ralsei is the healer. Or that's at least how I played the game. I'm really excited to try out chapters 3 and 4 whenever I get to them, since the feedback I've seen for these chapters have been nothing but positive. It just seems like whenever people think of one of the previous chapters was a banger, Toby proceeds to one-up himself. Let this man cook! Toby is truly one of the undisputed GOATs in the gaming community. With all that being said, I'm gonna place Deltarune an A tier. Love what I've played so far, however the game still isn't complete and I haven't played the new chapters, so I'll keep y'all updated on whenever I do. Really looking forward to how the story plays out in the next 2 chapters and future ones. These motherfuckers are asking us to be stinky. We can't wash our hands, we can't wash our armpits, we can't fucking shower. I'm assuming, like, what? You need a stink? No, literally, I think that's the fucking, that's the key. You have to literally, like, not wipe your ass, not do that shit. Let the booty flakes form, let the dookie chips crumble. Like, that's the key to, you gotta stink. I rarely get game recommendations from my girlfriend, much less a horror game. So when she told me that I should check out this game on stream, I was intrigued, and oh man, did she request a banger. No, I'm Not a Human is a psychological horror game where you get to judge people by their looks and get away with it. Whether they have perfect teeth, weird looking eyes, fucked up armpits, or if any of their physical attributes look funky to you, you have the right to tell them to stay away from you. You didn't do this without reason though. The whole world is ending and it's being taken over by the Visitors. Monsters that look uncannily similar to humans but with a few distinct attributes to tell them apart. And your job is to let people in your home. At night, people start appearing at your front doorstep and talk to you. You make the calls on whether you'll trust someone's sob story or call bullshit. During the day, you get to interact with your home. You're able to watch TV, decipher the radio, make phone calls, order groceries, and most importantly, talk to the people you let in your home and test them for visitor signs. Daniel fucking Larson, bro. Oh my god, dog. Hey, fuck! The gameplay loop is simple and very fun. I had a blast streaming this game. Trying to see who chat and I trusted at night was funny since everyone in this game looks abnormal to some degree. And even after letting people in my home, I still wasn't 100% sure if I trusted them, so I'd test them. The game isn't too long. It took me a bit less than 4 hours to complete my first playthrough. However, there is some replay value to be found since there are multiple endings, and if you're a completionist, then the achievements are always there to be collected. Cool gameplay, unique art style, hairy armpits. This game's cool in my book. I don't have any complaints, to be honest. B tier.
Okay, looks like it's time for us to get serious and play Little Nightmares 3.
So this was disappointing. After doing a Little Nightmares marathon with my girlfriend in preparation for this game, we were really excited to find out that Little Nightmares 3 was going to have co-op. This game was heavily advertised as multiplayer and we were ready. So tell me why the fuck this game doesn't have split screen? Okay, before I jump straight into the negatives, let's talk about some of the positives here. Visually, the game looks amazing, the characters Lo and Alone are wholesome, this game comes with a friend pass, and the idea behind each section are interesting. And now on to the negatives. As I was saying earlier, this game doesn't have local co-op, which for a game that is being advertised as multiplayer is fucking insane to me. On top of that, for a co-op game, there were only a few times we'd actually work together. For the most part, it felt like the puzzles didn't really require 2 people. A majority of the time, my girlfriend and I would wait at a door just so one of us solves the puzzle, if you can even call bringing down ladders a puzzle. and I hate to be that guy, but this game felt like a door opening simulator. You could just run through half of the rooms in the game without a care in the world, and maybe sometimes you'd have to stop because opening a door can require 2 people. Also, as of recording this, check this shit out. You see the tags right here for the game? Look what happens when you click on this to see more. What the fuck is this? This is bullshit. As I previously mentioned, the puzzles weren't anything crazy and weren't utilized to the fullest. The reason I bring this up again is because Low and Alone both have different abilities, with Low being able to shoot arrows with a bow and Alone is able to smash things with their wrench. There are little to no puzzles that require the use of these abilities. The pacing in this game was pretty shit. You'd either just go in a transition room just to walk into another, or you go into a vent to find an empty room, then vent again and find an empty room, and rinse and repeat. The story sucks. Whereas the first 2 games were excellent in environmental storytelling, this game kind of just put a bunch of shit together and was like, yeah, that works. On top of that, there are only 4 chapters in the base game, and the rest of the story is locked behind future DLC or other media bullshit outside of the game. And what's crazy is that they have the audacity to charge us for skins. Yeah, you want skins? Yeah, that's DLC, buddy. Sorry about that. Speaking of DLC, remember when I said that the rest of the story is locked behind DLC? Funny story, you can't play that shit until mid to late 2026, yet it's advertised as the release day of the game. What the fuck? The cherry on top of all of this pile of shit is that this game is the most expensive one in the franchise. Yep, the shittiest entry is the most expensive one. Also, I don't know if I'm tripping, but I swear they lowered the price on this game because I remember this shit being like $60 to $70. There are so many things wrong with this game, and it sucks to see because the first 2 games were great and this game is just a disgrace to the franchise. I understand that this game was made by different developers and not by the ones who made the first 2, so it makes sense why this game got hoed so badly. I don't recommend this game to anyone who wants to get into Little Nightmares. Just play the first 2 games. And if for some reason you feel like being irresponsible with your money, please buy this game on sale. This shit is not worth the full price. Even though I was heavily disappointed and let down by this game, I don't think any game could ever make me feel what Legends ZA did. So I'm putting Little Nightmares 3 into the lowest pits of D tier. Now, before I reveal my tier list in its final form and all its glory, let me quickly go over the honorable mentions and replayed. These are games that didn't make the list because A, I started them and didn't complete them, B, I forgot I even played them and to be honest, can't form an opinion on them, or C, games that I replayed and just felt like telling you guys. Starting off, I got Hollow Knight. I have played this game many years ago, although last year was the very first time I went ahead and 112% of this game. Peak. Next up, I got Repo. Honestly, I remember this game was trending. I honestly kind of don't know why. I bought this game on a whim because my friends wanted to play and I played for like a good hour and then never touched the game ever again. Clash Royale, I mean, this is an all-time classic. I've been playing this game since I was like in elementary school, and the game was back for a good 2 to 3 months before Supercell killed the game again. Isn't that awesome? Demon Souls, I started this a little bit after I finished Dark Souls 1 for a video, and I haven't finished the game, and I haven't played it in a long time. Hopefully, I can release that video this year. Resident Evil 4. This is one of the games I started on stream in preparation for RE9. I just haven't played the game in a minute, but I really enjoy it from what I played so far. And the same is said for Red Dead 2. This is another game I started and played on stream. I made it like halfway through chapter 2. And I haven't played it since, but I definitely want to pick it up someday and see why so many people love and praise this game. But so far what I played from, it's a bit slow, but I like it. Astroneer didn't make it on this year's list or last year's list, and I doubt it's going to make it on any list ever because every time I play this game, it just seems to be New Year's Eve every time I play this game. And yeah, cool game I guess, looks nice. The Walking Dead Telltale game. This is a game I low-key forgot I even played. I played it on stream actually, and I never played it since. I played it one time and called it GG's. I definitely want to pick it back up because a lot of people seem to love this game, and I want to see why. And last but not least, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, the game. I played this game because I actually watched the movie for the first time last year, and it was really funny, and I liked it, so I decided to check this one out with my girlfriend. cool game. I just honestly I didn't play too much of it. So the list is finally complete. Do y'all think it's valid or is just some hot shit? Let me know down in the comments what changes you guys would make if there's any. Make sure to drop a like and sub to the channel and check out my socials down in the description. I truly appreciate all the love and support you guys show. It really does mean a lot to me. Let's make 2026 a banger. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.